Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the KISS Europe race out on this January 10th, 2019. We are out on the Greater London Flat Course, and there is quite the showing of a pretty intense group of riders here, actually. Very high caliber, actually. Let's go ahead and jump right up into the racing here with the start. It looks like they've gotten off pretty quickly here. I did see Mr. Scotty Weiss actually jumping in here. Interesting to see. Quentin LaFay. So some of the old school Zwifters today showing up to go up against some of the new blood. We do see Alex West was out there as well as the Fusion Esports team. So lots of new blood versus the old guard, it looks like. I did see that 40 from Vision was showing up on the day as well. So some of the riders out here, some of the longest standing amongst the top dogs that are out here at Zwift. If you are tuning in over on Facebook, we do have comments and questions coming in. The social media integration, I believe, has been fixed. So we do have Ian Anderson coming on in here saying new blood. But we also have one of the leaders from the new All-Stars team jumping in over on Twitch and helping us out to see how that new integration is able to work. So if you are on Twitch, you are able to interact with the broadcast now as well, which is pretty cool. If I could get a moderator, perhaps, if I do have one over in the Facebook, go ahead and link that on over, Kim Little, if you are hanging out over there as well, or Daffin or Ian, any of you guys could probably link up the Twitch channel. I'd appreciate that very much, because there is that new integration, which is pretty cool to have. We'll go ahead and bring in your questions and comments. If you are unfamiliar with Zwift racing, make sure to bring them on in. So we do also have a women's specific race as well, KISS Europe Ladies Only. They're going to be starting in about 2 minutes and 54 seconds or so. Let's go ahead and see how things are happening over in the pens there. We got 8 signed up so far, it looks like, in the pens. 2:45 to go. I did see quite a few of the bigger hitters, though, that were signed up for the race. Hopefully they show up on the day. We do try to cover the ladies only if it is happening. I do see Britt Mason in here. Now, I did want to cover this because I did see that Mason, as well as I believe Cassie was in there as well, the UK national champion. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. 2:20 to go. If you still have time to jump on your bike real quick, go ahead and do so and jump into that ladies only if you can do so. So Austin Stein, how's it going there? When are Kim and Casey and Racy the pros? That is a great question actually coming on through. The Super League starts in just about 2 weeks. Just about 2 weeks. We are looking at actually a little under 2 weeks to the start of the Super League. So Austin Stein, be on a watch out for that. We'll be doing more broadcasts specifically with the All-Star team getting ready for that Super League that is going to be kicking off here in just a couple of weeks. So I'm super excited to see how that's going to play out. But not next week, I believe the week following that we're looking at for the start. Now, that's not official information from me. That's just through the grapevine so far. So up to the front end of this race, though, within the Open A race, we do see Fleetwood here taking on a little bit of the headwind for Vision. 3 laps out on the Greater London Flat out here today. Going to be a long race, actually. So we're going to see how the tactics going to play out. Being a flatter course, I believe that tactics are going to be very important, because getting away from this pack is going to be extremely difficult. I do not predict that there is going to be a break that does get away. Once in a while, though, somebody does get the better of the group, and it is able to happen. But early on here, I think it is going to be a lot of hand-holding, a lot of watching who's got what, who's making the moves and just covering moves for a lot of the race. Now, with enough guns here, though, from 2 specific teams that I'm looking at here, Fusion Esports Cycling Team with Hansen, as well as Fromlin. I did see him signed up. A couple of the other big hitters, I believe, are out here today. If they do have enough firepower, we could see them throwing a couple of riders off the front. The Vikings have 2 or 3, I believe, in here. I did see Bergen sign up for the race. So obviously a strong sprinter, another rider that we see involved in a lot of podiums. at least top 10s out on the A category races. Vision, though, definitely having the bulk of the riders here, but Quinn Lefay here already off the back suffering like crazy, it looks like. Maybe just out here de-essing, perhaps. We do see Creel here from Vision, the South African national champion, now 157 beats per minute. You can see coming from him right now. It's hanging on to the back here, maybe just chilling, looking for the tactic to play here. Maybe he was going back here looking to try and get Quinton involved again. I know Quinton has been training lately and maybe streaming right now. I do know he was getting a new streaming setup going for his return to training, so might be able to find him over on Twitch if he is live there. But Alex West, I think, along with 40, are going to be the main ones to be watching out for the Vision team. Vision's been just on the recruiting mayhem lately, just on the recruiting train. It seems like you're picking up lots of talent here. Scotty Weiss toward the front end here in that new Chroma kit he picked up, I believe, at level 34. That's a recent pickup for myself as well. W. March up toward the front here, now on the attack here, perhaps not looking to make this a slower race here. So with Scotty Weiss involved in the race here, I'd be watching out for some sort of an upset. Alex West, I think, along with Vision here with 40 in there as well, maybe some of the favorites to take down the win. We could see something happening here from the Fusion Esports team, but third wheel here now on the front here out of South Africa, 173 beats per minute, trying to make things difficult, or perhaps just hang on to the attacks that are going off the front here from Scotty as well as Marcher. This is actually becoming a much faster race from the get-go here than we were expecting. As they headed up the Whitehall into the Trafalgar Square, there was a break that ended up really demolishing some of this group already, and a few people who I think were not expecting this to happen so early. As you do see here, Fusion Esports with B. Hansen and Fromling here already finding themselves off the back. Jay Herman here, 6.6 watts per kilogram coming from him to try and get back on terms. 7 seconds back here. Creel already in a spot of bother here. This is the South African champion. He is a sprinter for sure, and without much of a group around him, it's going to be a long day in the saddle here. Is Vision going to wait up at all? They've got plenty of firepower in this group, but with the likes of Weiss and a few others toward the front end of this group, this is already starting to become a race at the first lap with 3 to go. 3 to go, and we've got a race on our hands as Weiss and Merritt here off the front now, 7 watts per kilogram continually now, trying to break things apart. Scotty, they're picking up a drafting power. I'm not going to be too much help to him at this point, just getting rid of that to try and pick something else up. Oh, no, perhaps he dropped that power up right before they hit the lap banner. And so he was looking to pick something else up. That perhaps is what took place there. We'll have to wait and see if he does end up with an arrow power up later on in the race or later on in this lap. I have a feeling that perhaps he didn't hit that as soon as they came through the lap banner. We'll have to wait and see, though. But Scotty Weiss here definitely disrupting things from what was to be expected, a flat, usual hand-holding type situation, and now we do have Fusion Esports here trying to get back on terms. No, Fromley's going to wait up for Gray and the rest of them, see if they can develop a pack here to try and make this chase, but things are already pretty much said and done for these riders that they were not paying attention. They were caught off guard, and the likes of Fleetwood, you know, from Vision Cycling, strong riders go, shout out to Fleetwood for always showing up and being really, really strong to make the packs. But when the rubber hits the road and it goes uphill, or the real serious attacks come on, usually not within a top 10 situation, Fleetwood. But Fleetwood here, being smart and finding those wheels at the right times, has found himself in an elite group toward the front with a few of the riders off the back here who usually make the podium. I mean, Fusion Esports, anybody with that name in there with Holt and Fromling here off the back, that is not usual to see. Creel here has a national championships kit on. I mean, this is simply a situation of attentiveness, and how attentive were you to the start of the race in that first little climb here. So that's the situation within the men's and open race here. Now back in with the women's, though, we do have Cassie Baldy, Britt Mason. Looks like our Atkins is there as well. Kay Banerjee, Banerjee there out of Australia. Fraser Milton there, it looks like, off the back with Jansen from the KRT team. And it looks like Aachen there coming out of Germany. So this is a situation. We do have a group of 3 on the front. Most likely going to be a battle between them, perhaps with only 3 in there. We could see a lot of action as far as the attacks go. But maybe the motivation will be to just hang on to the gap here and increase it. I do not believe they're going to feel too threatened from the rest of the women out on course here. So I have a feeling that what's going to happen is it is going to end up being a brawl between these 3 because they can attack at any point. But a lot of times when you have 3 like this, it depends on the attitudes on the day. A lot of time, if the attitude is that they know that they can risk it, they're going to go ahead and make the attacks happen here. We do see Cassie here on the front just pushing the pace a little bit. Atkins kicks in about 8 watts per kilogram for a moment there and then hangs onto the wheel. Mason here for Team Draft, the mountain biker who also was the winner of the KISS Americas final, actually, up here toward the front. She's a killer sprinter here. We'll have to see how it ends up working out, though, if she can hang on to the wheel of Cassie, who does tend to try and get away and not be in a sprint situation. So we'll see how that ends up playing out. Jerry Delport's here letting us know over at Twitch that his money is on Cassie for the win on the day. If it comes down to a sprint, I don't know, Britt Mason, very, very strong here. We also see in here Russ Kelsey here saying, Kesley here saying to go Cassie Baldy as well. Looking at a couple more comments here. A little bit of chatter there over at the Twitch channel here. We do see Austin Stein here asking Kim, ready for KRT. Is Scott C doing it as well? So we'll see. Not to see what's happening here, but it's really good to see that the Twitch channel is blowing up. Jerry Delport's in. Go South Africa as well. Britt Mason for the win, coming from Scott Zwifts. Riding for, obviously, Scott rides for the draft team as well. So good to see all the team members jumping in here and having a go at cheering on the fellow team members here. We also seen Tom O'Kalen over at the Facebook here saying Cassie been doing the KISS at base, so we'll have to see if that is helping out or not on the training. So appreciate everybody's comments and questions there, and really cool to see that the new integrations there over at Twitch are definitely working out here. So this is a situation with the women's race. Nothing, I think it's going to be a little bit of hand holding for a little while until they hit up a couple of the undulations later on in the Greater London Flat course here. But on the men's side of things here, Creel still off the back, the South African national champion here, as you can see, working well together with a large group. It looks about 20 riders or so, but 54 seconds up to the main group. And it looks like they're not slowing down here. 44 kilometers per hour currently. The main group, they're about on the same, negative percent gradient here and a 0% gradient here, 43. So perhaps they could work together here to bring things back. It's a solid 3.4 watts per kilogram toward the front end of this group. They don't seem super motivated, though. I mean, you got to be pulling 4 to 5 watts per kilogram at the front end of this group to really try and bring things back. It doesn't look like there is too much speed going down here, at least organization. Now, we do have Yamaguchi here, though, coming out of Japan, pushing the pace a little bit. No hard around, though. Can't take the W, but can help out to try and bring this back. Alex West here sitting in. I have a feeling that West is not going to be super interested on the day to take any polls, mainly because some of their main riders have found themselves off the back here, obviously, with likes of Lefay as well as Creel. And I know Creel having such a solid sprint, perhaps they're going to wait up a little bit, only cover any of the attacks. Now, there is an attack off the front here. We are seeing a couple of riders that have gone. It is third wheel from KRT here off the front on that Tron bike. Killam is trying to go right along with them. These two have a 4-second gap. This could be a threat. Merritt here, though, jumps right into 5.7 watts per kilogram, starts dragging the group right along. As you can see out of the UK here, it is going to be Fleetwood sitting on his wheel there and up and out of the saddle, just driving the pace. And these attacks are not going to be favorable for that chasing group. It is only going to go out continually with these attacks off the front here. 102 and is a full-on 10-second increase simply because of the driving of that pace with that attack from the KRT team there with third wheel now. So Scotty Weiss sitting in and look at it's a cool picking the equipment that he's picked on the day here with that full dish in the back of the Cervelo S5 that is known to be one of the fastest bikes out on Zwift. A lot of people do go for the Tron bike, obviously, if you do have it, but if you were a beta tester, it has been shown that the Cervelo S5 with a full dish wheel in the back, full dish wheel in the back, solid disc in the back, is going to be the fastest bike out on Zwift. At least that was the test, a year and a half back from Zwift Insider that they ran. Might even been up to 2 years at this point, but that was faster than even the Tron bike when the Tron bike did get updated. The Tron bike used to be one of the slower bikes, actually, back in the day. You'd unlock it, it looked cool, but it wasn't a super fast bike. An update to the game made it much faster in order to reward all of the effort to get the Tron bike, but I do believe that Cervelo S5 with the full disc is going to be the fastest still, but only available to the beta testers. So a little bit of a shout out to the beta testers, it looks like, from Zwift, giving them a little bit faster bike. Now, it isn't crazy amounts of speed or anything like that. When we're talking faster, you're simply talking about a couple of seconds per lap on a Richmond UCI course or a flatter course or something like that, over a 20-minute effort on the same wattage at 300 watts or something like that with a test dummy out there. The seconds, it's a few seconds is what we're looking at there, actually. So but it is a little bit extra speed, and in those sprints it may matter, actually, when it comes down to 1/100ths of a second here. Merritt here going off the front again. This has been one of the most aggressive riders we've seen so far. Fleetwood toward the front, covering it for vision, it looks like, knowing that he's most likely going to be more of a domestique than the winner on the day. It looks like Fleetwood's going to be doing the work for vision out there. 5.3 watts per kilogram coming from him. Kill him there. 3.7 still involved. Alex West sitting in, it looks like, maybe going to be the favorite for vision on the day. He's going to continue to sit in and allow the team to do the work. 40, though, could be the rider to go off the front. We do know he has some solid TT power, so be watching out for him to maybe make a counterattack during one of these goes off the front here from some of the other team members. Looking through, we do have Fusion Esports still involved here. Hansen was able to get back on terms, barely, it looks like, but only Hansen from the Fusion Esports cycling team. Arbiter, be watching out for him from the KRT team. He's been involved in quite a few sprints out on course here. C. Smith as well. Bergen there, of course, always from the Vikings team. So lots of big names still sitting in here today. Good evening, everybody. Good to see Zwift Cycle. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the comments that are coming on through over at the Twitch as well as the Facebook channel. We do have YouTube as well integration if you are chatting over on YouTube. Does look like a lot of the chatter, though, is happening over on Twitch, it looks like. Looks like too bad didn't know Zwift existed. Bring back the disc. Claudia Baring is letting us know. I knew we were gonna get some comments, especially from the competitors out there. Like, where is my disc? I wish I had the disc. The disc was only available during the beta. Yeah, it was only available during the beta, as Scott is letting everybody know there. Wish they had left the Buffalo bike as the fastest, we're hearing from Kim Little. And that would be a pretty cool unlock, that if you were a part of a charity, you then get the fastest bike. That would be a pretty cool reward. Now, at the same time, climbing 50,000 meters tends to be a pretty big deal as well. Looking through a couple more of the comments here, Merritt is showing some good form. He's definitely showing good form early on. A lot of tacks off the front, but being the kind of course that is going to be about the tactics, it might not be the best tactic to be using up all that energy and glycogen this early on in the race. It is still very early on. It is a long race out here today. We're 18 minutes in. And it is definitely going to be a race about attrition a little bit out here, as if we do see attacks over and over again. It might just be a hand-holding race where we end up hanging out with Chad a lot because the attacks aren't happening left and right here. But this is going to be one of the main places out on course that we're going to see the attacks we're speaking of here, up and out of this underground. And third wheel, again, 7.5 watts per kilogram coming from him. Law's going now as well, 6.6 trying to come on through. Egner here, did not notice that he was in the race, actually, using the feather power-up, knowing that that's not going to be of much use to him later on in the race. This is the only section out on course that's really going to matter with that feather power up. Little 3% gradient uphill, very flat course, obviously. They're not heading back through Whitehall as usual on the classic course and the flatter course out on London. This is the only section really to make things happen. Up and out of the saddle, still Egner pushing that pace. Marcher jumps right on pace with him as well. Weiss is there. They do have a little bit of gap here. Ryan Giuliano here. Another one to mention, coming from the triathlon world, Giuliano from Team Draft. Be watching out for him. Once in a while, Giuliano comes out with a stellar upset amongst some of these big hitters here out on Zwift. So I'd watch out for him. If he makes this group, we could see a W here for Team Draft specifically from Giuliano. And now we do have Kanchan here now as well, coming out of Canada. Rider I'm not super familiar with here, but making himself known toward the front end of this pack here in the green neon kit. Looks like we also have from Team Poland, it is going to be Grabarczyk. I'm going to say, hopefully I got that right. I'm pretty close, I believe. Then Kunskin there from the ZRG team. 40 sitting in steady, it looks like, as well. So A West, still not a whole lot of effort coming from West, just following the moves, making sure nobody gets anywhere. And I think the catch out earlier in the race kind of let people know that this is not a race in the caliber of racers that you want to find yourself daydreaming, because you're going to be off the back pretty quickly, as we do have some of the biggest hitters out on Zwift off the back, as you do see here with Gray leading out this pack that's 2 minutes back. They're racing for 30th or something like that at this point now. But Kiff here, as well as Ogier, the next ones that have been caught off guards and going off the back here. 3.7 watts per 178 beats per minute. Kiff here, only 159, 3.7. It's 7 seconds out here. They've got the gap, and this pack I don't think is coming back to them. They're going to be moving backwards quickly to that chase group. Finish up their first lap of 3. Now, the women are doing two laps. So they are already out on to their first of 2. And we do see it is going to be Atkins, Mason, as well as Cassie Baldy. Still, all together here, nothing too much happening. It is going to be Banerjee here out in the solo TT for the rest of the day. It looks like Jansen and Milton, they're going to be battling it out in this women's race here against each other. Or else maybe just chasing down Banerjee. Maybe Banerjee could perhaps going to end up wasting some, well, not wasting, but out in that solo TT at only a minute 4, perhaps Jansen as well as Milton could try and pull something back together here, but the watts per kilogram are saying a different story there. It looks like Banerjee's motivated maybe to try and bring back that front group, but that is still a lot of time between them. And 4.1 watts per kilogram coming from Team Draft with Britt Mason. I don't think it's going to be coming back anytime soon, but Mason here, Team Draft showing up on the day, showing that they've got the motivation to take the W in the women's only as well as the men's race here. Mason 3.5 watts become 169 beats per minute currently. If it comes down to the sprint, I'm gonna have to say I saw that sprint come from Mason in the finals for the Americas, in the KISS finals for Americas, and that was a crazy sprint coming from Britt Mason. Up against Cassie Baldy, also a finalist though, so perhaps we're gonna have a UK finalist versus America's finalist for the sprints here, but don't count out Atkins. I believe Atkins grabbed a second place a few weeks back in this race specifically, showing us that she is a new force out in the world of Zwift racing. And looking through here, let's go ahead and see some of the latest results actually from these ladies. I'm seeing Britt Mason currently with 559 points. Inge Jansen actually ranked a little bit higher amongst the ladies with just a few more races under her belt recently than Mason or Ronna Atkins and Cassie Baldy. But looking through some of the recent results here, it does look like Ronna Atkins taking down the W in the 1 week ago, actually, in the KISS America's only ladies only race. So solid result there for her 1 week ago. Looking back through a second place there on the Tuesday before that, a little over a week ago, and that was going up against Moin Moin. We did cover that race, actually. So that second place against Moin Moin, and then it was going to be Lou Milou, and then it was Leah Milou, and then Steve Agmo behind her there. So Atkins here showing up and letting everybody know that she is not somebody to be messed with here. We are seeing as well Wild Women Racing Series. They're back on the 5th there for Cassie Baldy, though. She was able to take down the W in that, it looks like. And that, from what I hear, at 4.2 watts per kilogram, for the Wild Women's Racing, Cassie Baldy up against Emil Joyner, Susie Robinson, Pamela coming from Team Vision there, as well as Megan Hoffman. So in that, well, that's in the B category there, but Cassie with a good showing over the weekend, it looks like, in that new series that just launched. So definitely some of the bigger hitters amongst the women's racing here in this front group. I'm taking a look for what's happening with Britt Mason and her results as of lately out on Zwift. It does look like she did. The last thing that Britt Mason has done, actually, is a KISS Europe ladies only race way back on December 20th, actually. And that was, it looks like, up against the likes of Tina Grobler, Lucy Collins, as well as Steve Angmo. So the thing is that between these three riders, from what I'm seeing in the past results in the last couple of weeks, Britt Mason, she hasn't been out on course to show what she's got against the likes of Baldios or Atkins here. So there isn't a whole lot of data in the Zwift racing season this year so far to try and figure out who might be able to take this down. So it's going to be interesting to see. Let's start hearing your predictions there. They're going to have one lap to go in just a few moments here, about a lap and a half at this point, coming into that underground, the one climbing section of the course. I think that may be the only place on course that Cassie might have a chance here to break the likes of Mason if she is worried about that sprint at all. And I'd be concerned myself to be sprinted against Britt Mason out there for sure. But back in with the men's racing here, definitely some hand holding going on here. Fording toward the front, though, is letting us know that it's time to go. Maybe 6.2 watts per kilogram as they're going to have a lap and a half to go or so as they're heading by the river on the left hand side here and the Palace on the right there. But Jerry here holding it down here, not letting Vision get too much of a gap. Just about 1 second, maybe going to open up here for 40 in a second. And this is definitely what we'd predict from the likes of 40, to try and loosen up the legs, soften the legs of the riders that are around him there from the other teams to try and make sure that there is the best chance for their sprinters to throw down at the end of the day. Law here from Innovation, seeing the 40s out the front, knowing that he's a good TT rider, starts to make an attack right alongside him. This is how you make things happen on the flat course. One goes, gets a little bit of a gap, the next one sprints on by, and then you jump right on that wheel. All of a sudden, next thing you know, there's a 3-second gap. Killam tries to go right along with it. Here comes the orange numbers now. 6.8 watts per kilogram coming from Killam here. He's got a 1 second gap over Cash, and Scotty Weiss now gets right onto the wheel of Canshin here. Now Giuliano trying to go with it. It looks like he may be able to make this as well. Ivanov now up and out of the saddle. So the string is starting to snap a little bit. There's little gaps starting to form. Smith here from Innovation not trying to follow too closely, making sure he does not take away the effort of his teammate there. There's a 2-second gap back to our Brit, as well as the rest of that KRT contingent that's shown up with third wheel. Alex West here jumping right on terms, though it looks like, to the back end of this group. 40 still in there. Vision still in contention. Where is Fleetwood, though? There must have been a couple of attacks that we missed a little bit earlier. Kiff here off the back still. Fleetwood 28 seconds, as we said earlier. Perhaps a dropout, though. He's going, it looked like for a moment that there might have been a dropout, perhaps. We'll have to wait and see if we can get some information from the Vision team. Solid effort there from Fleetwood, though. He's put his work in for the team now. Now it's up to West and the likes of 40 to try and make something happen with it. But man, they showed up with quite the team on the day, but nothing seems to be coming of it. Well, not nothing, but I mean, there is definitely the whittling away with Creel off the back, LaFay off the back, now Fleetwood off the back. There's only 2 Vision riders left, and the likes of KRT still in there with third wheel. Britt still in there, and Britt hasn't been doing a lot of work from what I can see so far. Maybe reserving for a sprint or a time trial off the front later on in the race. We do know that Britt has some solid TT power, actually. Weiss now making his way to the front, maybe with the counter, kicking into 7 watts per kilogram, as you can see, 170 beats per minute. Scotty Weiss, this is still an effort from Weiss, so 171. This is no joke here coming from Weiss. 2 seconds back is going to be West. They continue to counter each other's attacks over and over, and you do see these little gaps forming. West here up into 8 watts per kilogram, trying to let a little bit of a gap go, it looks like here, to try and maybe snap the elastic, as riders are just looking for those wheels that are in front of them, not trying to waste effort on a flat course, but at the same time make sure that they do not get dropped off, as so many riders have so far on this race. Now, I came into this race for commentary expecting it to be kind of a hand holding, more chat going on, but it has just been like attack left and right here. Scotty here now getting a little bit of a gap. If he gets off the front, he could TT away from this group. He's got the power to do it. We've seen it happen before. Marcher here now at 4.3 watts per kilogram, just hanging onto the wheel barely here. It isn't because I think they're in a whole lot of pain or anything. They just are at that edge of a threshold where, like, this is starting to get into a VO2 effort where I don't quite want to waste this much effort just to hang on to that wheel that's in front of me here. It feels like I should not be working this hard. They're making it so incredibly difficult at the front end of this race, though. The pace is so high, and without double draft in here, this is where you just got to kind of set a tempo or higher to even hang on to this group. Speaking of how fast this has actually been, let's go ahead and take a quick look at zwiftpower.com and see exactly what kind of watts per kilogram they've been hanging on to so far in this race. Just to hang on to the front end of this race, the highest so far, Scotty Weiss with a 5.5 watts per kilogram, 5.2 there coming from Burke Hansen as well, 4.9 coming from Simon Merritt. They've been some of the most aggressive riders so far in this pack. Anybody under 4 watts per kilogram in this front pack knows how to draft on Zwift, that's for sure. And I'm not seeing a single one. If you want to be involved in this pack at the front, 30 minutes in, 4 watts per kilogram is what it's going to take to try and stay involved in this group. Absolutely flying. Weiss is drilling it. We're hearing from Neil Austinton. Richard Law saying this is fast. Kim Little. I'm loving the prediction here coming from Kim Little. His money is on, we're just going to leave that one alone, actually. Tom O'Kalen now is saying that this is too easy. They should do Tour de Zwift with all those indoor specialists, Tom O'Kalen, to say it. So you're saying that the courses, Tom? Kalen is saying, so you want the courses that are used for the racing to be specifically the Tour de Zwift courses? Is that what you're saying there, Tom? That's a great comment, actually. It'd be kind of cool to see that as well. Giuliano, so we're getting a prediction here from Stephen Lynch. He thinks Giuliano's going to be taking down the win. Dwayne Grant saying, can we get a ride on for Jeffrey Creel? This race is at 4 a.m. in Australian time. Dedication. I do believe I gave him a ride on earlier, but we'll go ahead and look for him again out on course and just make sure that we did give that South African national champion a ride on. And yes, we did. So good to see Creel out there. Did get dropped early on. I think there was just an inattentiveness actually from Creel. So we'll have to see if that'll. Well, he's already off the back. 3 minutes. We're not going to see anything. It's done. Sorry, Creel. Right on, man. But 4 a.m. wake up, and maybe that's why the inattentiveness. Maybe that's what happened there. That it was just straight inattentiveness. At 4 a.m. wake up time, needed more coffee to get up and over the top of Whitehall in order to make that group that broke things apart very early on in this race. So, looking through, it does look like we have about 5, 10, 15, 20 riders, I would say, in this front group. We're getting a prediction here from 40. For 40, actually, Kaj Andre is saying 40 just did the high crit as an HI crit as a warm-up. I wouldn't be surprised, actually, if he did. The guy rides crazy amounts. out on Zwift. I like the indoor specialist name we're hearing from Nick Nellis here as well. Go Reese Agner, we're hearing from Ian Racing here. So a lot of cheering here for your specific favorite riders here. Frank Deal's letting us know that he thinks that the occasional 4-minute climb would be nice. But, you know, lots of different courses in these KISS races. You can't satisfy everybody on every day. And it is the racers that make the race. I've seen, like this race, some of the flattest courses become some of the most competitive because of the continual attacks from the riders. Alex West now, he's been sitting in for most of this race. We haven't seen a whole lot from him so far, and now we're seeing exactly why. I believe the reservations are opening up now and letting the floodgates go with the wattage now, up into 8 watts per kilogram momentarily here. Marsha covers it immediately. Weiss now jumps right on terms with him, it looks like here. Will they be able to break this apart? Marsha up in the 11 watts per kilogram, spinning things out. Oh my goodness, that looked like 120 RPMs full-on sprint there. Was he able to break anything apart, though? Anybody falls off? Looks like another one does bite the dust here. Osted here off the back here from the HCK team now. So it is going to be Bergen able to make it there on the back just barely here. West now may find himself immediately at the back after the attack, though you never know whether or not it's going to make you suffer or them suffer. And we do see exactly how that can not pay off if you end up being the first instigator. A lot of times it's the third or fourth instigator that does make something happen here. Marcher again attacking 11 watts per kilogram, it looks like. Gets a little bit of a gap and then attacks again, it looks like. And gonna double check and see, does Marcher have a verification though? With the way that he is sprinting off the front right now. I do not believe he's even currently in the backend API. Actually, there is no connection from Marcher here, I believe. So I do believe Marcher is not going to be able to be involved in the final results for the race here. So we'll have to wait and see how the riders do respond to the fact that Marcher is unable to take the W. They may just allow him to go at a certain point if he continues to attack rather than riding the wheel. We'll have to see if that ends up taking place here. Ivanov here now, 162 beats per minute coming out of Russia here. Coonskin following it up now. It does look like 40 is going to try and give it a go again after Alex's attack there. We do know that Vision does use a Team Bus Discord. They do have a Discord channel. They do communicate over race radio just about every race they jump into. And so most likely this is a coordinated attack between him and Alex West to try and break things apart. Now, interesting to see, perhaps they do not want to see a sprint finish. That may be what is going on here, that they are not confident in their ability to take down the likes of Scotty Weiss, Rob Britt, or any of the others that are Giuliano as well, another one that's got a solid sprint if he times it well. With one lap to go here in just a moment. 40 off the front, 5.6 watts per kilogram. It's been a long time since we've seen the likes of 40. It was back in the day of Zwift racing, early Zwift racing, not beta days. It was, heading into, it was still Nathan Garrett channel, or right after, a little ways after that, we did launch the Zwift Community Live channel. 40 and Cartwright would be off the front over almost every other race. It would be this TT effort that they would be like, goodbye. A lot of times it was on the Box Hill. They would be getting away up and over the top, and next thing you know, it is the 40 or Cartwright show where the two of them off the front battling it out with the likes of maybe an Adam Webb or somebody else from the One Love team now. I mean, absolutely insane. Will 40 be able to make this kind of a thing happen again? Kill him here now, trying to kill the attack by 40 and Vision off the front here. WR team now coming out of Canada. Not super familiar with him. Fusion esports cycling team still in there as well into those orange numbers. But look at this. There's a gap. Agner there. West there just barely getting on turns. And this is how you make it happen here. You attack and attack and attack over again. You catch that moment and you make sure it's in the 9 watts per kilogram. You make sure it's orange numbers to go with the attack that's up ahead. You let a little bit of space go and then you go full on, because otherwise you're just dragging everybody on up to the to the group with you. So this is how you make it happen. It's got to be full on sprint attacks to try and snap that elastic and continue to drive the speed and the pace at the front here. It looks like it may be shut down, though, pretty quickly here. Will we see an encounter around the corner here? I wouldn't be surprised to see something from Weiss here. It wasn't like he was attacking. He was just following the wheels here out of the corner now. Who's going to make it happen? This would be a place to go because everybody is on the rivet now. And there it is, Weiss, 9 watts per kilogram. There's that prediction coming true now. Merritt now 4.1 and nothing left perhaps now as Weiss goes 172 beats per minute here. I'm not sure anyone's going to have much of anything. They came through into this final lap. The bell lap started and everybody started attacking. The elastic was snapping there, and we saw everyone in the orange numbers momentarily just a few moments ago. It was instigated by the likes of 40. Then the guy came on through with West, and now you can see it's Weiss who is going to try and solidify this, though. 180 beats per minute, though. How long can he hold on to this kind of heart right now? And it looks like West going to just set it at the front there, knowing that Scotty doesn't have any teammates with him. Perhaps we're going to see the rest of the group work against the likes of Scotty Weiss here and try and make sure that this isn't a Zwift champion in the past years. Won a lot of races out on Zwift, and if anybody can break the group, it is Scotty Weiss actually here. West now 4.9 watts per kilometer to the front. Killam now 4.4, just trying to drive that 47 kilometers per hour to try and catch to the likes of Weiss. But Weiss 50 kilometers per hour. That's what they're going to need to chase him down. They've got 51. It looks like it's only 4 seconds. Weiss here says, I'm going to TT away off the front here. Looking through some of the more comments, lots of them coming on through here, and great to see all of them. Greg Leo thinks that it has everything to do with the fact that Team Draft exists. That's why 40 and Cartwright can get off the front. Just so everybody knows, it's because Team Draft exists now that 40 and Cartwright can't get off the front. Just kidding, of course, you guys. But no, I think it has everything to do with the fact that there is just a super high caliber of racers joining in, seeing the reality that Zwift racing is to the training, and the reality that Zwift is to the results that you do get from joining in on the program and the races. So the attack is out the front. I'm not sure it's going to stick. It's only 2 seconds for Weiss now at this point, and there's some super high caliber riders behind him here working together to bring it back together actually here. So back in with the women's racing here, it looks like it's still all together now. They are on their final lap now. About a half a lap to go. Cassie here now from the ZHR, the watts per kilogram team there. 3.8 watts per kilogram on the front. Atkins here following it up there. Britt Mason sitting in a little bit. 174 beats per minute though coming from Mason. 165 here coming from Atkins. And then we've got Cassie here 172. So all of them, I would believe, are pretty close to the top of their threshold now. And I believe this perhaps is going to all stick together. It's interesting to see how they're riding this, though, that they are all up into that, up into that threshold, not really resting up. 4.0 watts per kilogram pretty much amongst them. Atkins now backing off a little bit here. Are they going to start thinking about the sprint, or are they just going to work together in this kind of team time trial mode in order to hang on to the front end of this group? Though Britt Mason's put out about 3.6 watts per kilogram. We are, no, that was for a different race actually. Let's go ahead and see if we can find the race today for the KISS ladies only. But Britt Mason, as far as the punch goes, she's got a 68.2% punch. We're seeing from Ing Jansen, who's a little ways back. No punch really coming from Ing, actually. 52.5% punch there from the likes of Cassie. So in a head-to-head sprint here, we're seeing 724 watts there for a shorter sprint coming from Britt Mason. And for Cassie, 648. Definitely, even on a long sprint, 425 there coming from Britt Mason and 399. So the punch is about almost 15 percentage points in Britt Mason's favor. So if Cassie wants to take this down, at least in the numbers currently from what we're seeing right now, they perhaps, Cassie might want to try and, use an arrow power up or a feather power up on one of these uphill grinds and try and take it down early here. In order to be involved in this front group, we're still looking for the race results currently here. See if I can find them for all you guys and see what kind of power that these women have been putting out for the duration of the race in this KISS ladies only race. This is your front three runners right now. Cassie here, a little bit of a spread there between them, and Mason not able to hold on right now to the wheel momentarily. Maybe just a little bit of inattention there, perhaps just Zwift giving her a hard time for a moment there. It does look like in order to be involved in this front group, Cassie Baldi, 4.1 watts per kilogram so far. Absolutely demolishing herself to try and make this as hard as possible, it looks like, for the other riders. Rhonda Atkins, there's put about 3.5. Britt Mason, 3.7. That's 227, 231, and 210 between the three of them on the average wattage on the day. So far, they've also put out well over 11 watts per kilogram, all of them, in order to make that initial group, it looks like, for about 15 seconds. Oh, no, that's their rider's best in the last 90 days. Excuse me here. So it looks like between them, Rana has a 10.2. Britt Mason, 11.8. Cassie, 11.4. They're pretty evenly matched. There's a full watt per kilogram more, though, for the likes of Mason and Baldi here. So perhaps that is going to be the death knell there for the race win for Atkins. But if she were to take this down, it would be quite the result for this rider here. We are seeing a feather power up actually coming from Cassie. I said that this is where it was going to have to happen on this climb, and this is the final climb on the course here. Mason, 12 watts per kilogram coming from Britt Mason here, trying to close it down to Cassie Baldi. Cassie now, though, with a little bit of a gap here, you can see the distance between them, but she is going to have to be in full-on TT mode to try and make this happen. And both of these riders know how to race virtually, know how to take down another and make a live final. We've seen it before from them, and it looks like Mason covered that well. Already, though, an arrow power-up from Atkins. That might be it for her, because without an arrow power-up against these sprinters, oh, she might be regretting that at this point, because it looks like it would have came back anyways. Maybe a little bit of a jitter, maybe got a little bit too worried that it wasn't going to be coming back, and Atkins uses her maybe only advantage against the likes of Baldi and Britt Mason. Now, Mason, we did not see an arrow power up there coming from Britt Mason, though she probably has one still in the reserves. And Mason, punch plus a power up, it might be said and done. Atkins maybe be able to pull that off in the end with that arrow power up, but now using it just to hang on to the likes of these really, on the women's side of things, they are some of the strongest we've ever seen making those live finals for both the European finals, KISS finals in London, as well as the Americas over in Long Beach, California, with Britt Mason and Cassie Baldi. If Atkins does take this out, it is a huge result for her. 3 on the front here, USA, and the UK. And we'll see if they can represent on the US of A. What are the predictions? Will there be an upset here? Will Britt Mason take it down? Will Atkins be able to show that she is one of the newcomers in the world of Zwift racing that can take down the likes of these champions here? The current Zwift national UK champion here trying to hang on to Atkins. Atkins going from way out. This is a very, very early effort here. Mason here on 1 second off the back here. Mason's been caught out. This was the favorite for the sprint there, but if she's not involved for the sprint, it's said and done. 6.2 watts per kilogram, now 7 watts per kilogram, 182 bits per minute. And this is Team Draft maybe losing the race at this point. Atkins catching her out, but no, jumps right back on, and that's the worst thing to see, because you've already wasted so much energy, and the sprinter is back on the wheel. Britt Mason here set up perfectly to try and take this down. I believe she may have an arrow power up. We'll have to wait and see how it ends up playing out here. They're about to head into the final sprint here, and it looks like Mason might be set up for the W. When is she going to go? But she's leading things out. Interesting to see that she's actually leading this out right now. How is this going to end up playing out here between the riders? Now, here we go. It's going to be Cassie Baldi on the front now. 5.6, 6.3 watts per kilogram coming from Cassie. And it looks like Atkins here following it up, sitting in. Nobody's gone yet. Somebody's got to go. Mason, the first one to go. And with 11 watts per kilogram, I think it's said and done. There's not even a response from Cassie or Atkins. Britt Mason shows that she's got the power to the line. Atkins now putting the jump on. Is she going to get the better of Cassie? And I believe it was Atkins at the line. We'll have to wait for the back end for the official results there. But I think Cassie perhaps just too much effort over and over again, and it ends up being Britt Mason, Atkins, I believe, then Cassie Baldi. Maybe something at the line there did happen, but we'll have to wait for the official results. But Team Draft takes it down on the day for the ladies only race. Back in with the men's race, though, still lots of action to take place here with the men, as now we do have Rob Britt off the front here, 6.7 watts per kilogram. This is a rider who's been sitting in for a while, knows he doesn't have a sprint, is going to try and make something happen on this downhill. 60 kilometers per hour now with that aero power up to 30-second power up. Probably dropped it just at the right time that he's going to have it for just a little bit into the climb here. We'll have to wait and see how that ends up playing out for him. 5 seconds here, 6 watts per kilogram. Now he's really got a kick, though, because the orange numbers are going to be coming on from the likes of the rest of the group here. Scotty Weiss now kicking 8 watts per kilogram. Marcher's there as well. Jiri toward the front now. Merritt now. Where is this feather power up coming out? It's going to be Merritt now. 10 watts per kilogram. Now, this is all about a TT off the front for about a K or a little bit more. This is going to be an all-out kilo race to the line if he thinks he's going to be able to hold on to this. Merritt, though, without an aero power-up, I think it might be curtains for him because it isn't going anywhere. Where's the rest of the group here? Third Wheel put all of his effort in, it looks like, for the KRT team, but it is said and done for Third Wheel. He's doing circles back there. I'm not sure what happened to him, but 40 here sitting in, it looks like. Where is Alex West? Is Alex West toward the front? What happened to West? Is he off of the race? Did he fall off? Did West drop out? I'm not seeing Alex West at this point. 40's still in there. Smith is in there. Perhaps. Oh, no, West is in there. West is here, excuse me. Okay, coming out of New Zealand there. There's the Vision rider. So Vision still with 2 in there. Scotty Weiss obviously still sitting in here. Former world champ here for Masters world champ, I believe, here, still sitting into the group now. Ivanov here now, Coonskin here, Weiss, Hansen, Fusion Esports, now Esports cycling team here at the front, making sure they're well positioned. As you saw just now, it's all about the positioning into these final few hundred meters now. Hansen leads things out. The calm before the storm now. 40 here, 5.7 watts per kilogram currently coming from him, as you can see. And the race is about to open up into a full-on, all-out sprint in just a moment here. How is this going to play out? What are your predictions? Let's start hearing them over in chat. Is 40 going to be able to take this down? Is it going to be Merritt, who's kind of coming out of the woodwork here? Not somebody I'm super familiar with. The riders are sitting in. 40's got a little bit of a gap here. Now, it's interesting. 40 does tend to sprint from a fairly high watts per kilogram a lot of times. He's looking for just the right setup here. Killam here now goes to try and kill it from... We've seen people get caught off guard from this corner, actually. Can he hold on to the orange numbers all the way to the line at this point, though? Where is the arrow power up, though? It needs to be thrown down now, and there it is. Killam throws it down right at the perfect time, perhaps. Now, 8.9 watts per kilogram, 2-second gap, 8 watts per kilogram, 9 watts per kilogram. He's holding. Can he hold on to this kind of a gap? There's no arrow power-ups we're seeing, but here comes Hansen, 13 watts per kilogram. Scotty Weiss, though, 16 watts per kilogram. Scotty Weiss comes flying by Killam. Killam tried to go for it so early, but Weiss followed by West, and then I'm not sure, but absolutely a monstrous effort coming there from Scotty Weiss, taking it down on the day. Oh my goodness, 16 from the pack, boys and girls, and that is the race, the sprint on the day. Scotty Weiss throwing down for a 9.11. Alex West, though, look at that. The timing It's all about the timing. He was actually a tenth of a second faster than Scotty Weiss. If he would have timed it differently, it would have been Alex West. There's Killam. We saw him go from way out. Killam there, able to hold on the 9 watts per kilogram. As you see, it's all about the kick in the final 200 meters. Look at Alex West, 14 watts per kilogram, coming on strong, chasing down Weiss. He's actually closing the gap, and he almost pulls it off there, but no, Weiss is able to hold on. I believe Anger was able to hold on to third from what we saw there between them, but it was almost an upset there for Scotty Weiss coming from Alex West. Vision really showed up, put the work in on the day, almost able to throw it down in the sprint there. Scotty got the jump at just the right time. It looks like Alex responded just a little bit late to try and take down that W there. But Scotty Weiss ends up with the W and the win here. And well done to Rana and Nathan. Hey, Austin Breck, thanks a lot. I appreciate your comments. They're coming on through there. Rusty Dev as well. Looking through all the comments here, really appreciate everybody showing up on the day. Kim Little was coming through with the prediction for West. You know, he did have the fastest. He did have the fastest time on the sprint section. But it's not always about the just straight speed. It's about the tactic as well. Smash It Richard Law, Carl Smith, and Alex West. Kyle Augustine coming in here. Dwayne Grant as well as was saying that it was going to be at West for the win. But Christopher Stout says Weiss and got the prediction right there. Nice finish there. Andrew Benke saying there's an amazing finish there coming from there. 16.6 watts per kilogram. Dafford Williams is saying as well. Scotty Monster Weiss Sprinter. Holy smokes coming there from James Joseph Barnes. A big old boom coming in from Anthony Ribbit. Appreciate all the comments, everybody. You guys are rocking here. Great commentary, Nathan. Yours. I appreciate it, man. It was all right there. It was, there was a little stutters in there. We need to get rid of a few of the stutters, and we need to get some new go-tos. We need some go-tos up in here. I mean, they get sometimes the same old, right? Oh my God, incredible wattage here, Carl is saying as well. And so that was a warm-up lap. Yep, let's go. Time to go ride the bike. All right, I got to get going, though. We've got a lot going on for the rest of the day here over in the Zwift Community Live world. Lots of preparation. Lots of preparation coming in for the KISS Super League, obviously, as well as lots of, there's just tons going on with all of that. So good to see everybody tuning in here, though. If you haven't done so already, make sure to head on over to the your favorite streaming platform, whatever it might be. If you're watching on Facebook right now, hit that follow button for Zwift Community Live. Turn on your notifications. If you'd like to have really solid 1080 watch on a big screen TV somewhere, Twitch is a great place to do that as well. So go ahead and head on over to twitch.tv/Zwift Community Live. Hit the follow button over there. Obviously, we do have the Twitch integration now, as you're seeing here from Kim Little coming in with the ride the bike over there. That's where he's watching. We are also over on YouTube as well. I did see a few people coming on in with some YouTube comments, so it was good to see everybody hanging out over there as well. So appreciate all of you. Well done to Reese Egner. It looks like Andrea Egner coming in here with a comment, cheering on family members, it looks like, perhaps. And CS Tricks with the sushi. That's only on the Nathan Garrett channel. Appreciate the comment, though. Thanks for the coverage, Nathan. What are you going to cover going forward? We'll have a schedule out on Sunday or Monday. We are getting a new one for the January through March, and it'll be on a regular basis, obviously on a weekly basis. With the KISS Super League launching, and we just want to make sure we don't disrupt the schedule. And there's been a lot of requests, you guys. I hear all your requests. Seriously, I've got like 10 to 15 requests sitting for different things to be covered right now. So we've got to sort it. And we've got to figure that out in conjunction with the things that KISS and Zwift are doing, and we'll figure that out, and then you will see a schedule for sure for next week, as well as an updated ZwiftCommunityLive.com. It's been dormant for a while, so our website will be getting updated as well pretty soon. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks a lot. If you haven't done so again already, hit those follow buttons. and share out the streams. It's always super helpful to do so. Let all your buddies know that are racing, riding, or just like to check out things with cycling to follow up the channel. And that's going to be it from me. I'm Nathan Garrett from Zwift Community Live. Thanks to all the viewers for tuning in. Great job to all the racers as usual. And as always, ride on.